Hello again, I'm Wealth. I'm currently a third year medical student of the University of Ibadan. Yes, that's me trying to figure out what's in the microscope. Okay, actually, that's me acting up the front of the camera so you would think I'm a serious student. But I'm not an unserious student anyway. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience so far in medical school as a medical student and how this experience has kind of shaped and changed me. Like looking back now, I'm a more different person than I used to be before medical school. I've changed in many areas for better and a little for worse too. I'm going to talk about everything in this video. So before I get started, let me just quickly explain how medical training or how medical school works in Nigeria. Medical school is like divided into three parts: the preliminary part, the preclinical part, and the clinical part. So preliminary is just 1 year. So in your year one, you'll be in the preliminary part of medical school, and what you are going to be doing are basic sciences, like the one you did in your secondary school. You'll be doing English, biology, chemistry, physics, and in some schools you do math. Then the next stage is your preclinical. So in your preclinicals, you are going to be learning about the basic medical sciences, that is how the human body is structured and how it functions. So we are going to be doing anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry basically. And then the third part is the clinicals. The clinicals is where you're going to be going to the clinic and you're going to be seeing actual patients. That's the last part of medical school. So I'm currently about crossing to my clinical years. I'm currently in the preclinicals, and by now I should have crossed to clinical if not for the current ASU strike that is keeping most federal university students at home. Hopefully when we resume back, we're going to be writing our exams, and by God's grace we'll be crossing over to clinical. So let me start by how medical school has changed me for better. The first way it has changed me is that I'm more hardworking than I used to be. Before medical school till now, I can't sincerely answer this question whether I'm a lazy person or a hardworking person, but there's something I know for sure, and the thing is that I'm a kind of person that don't want to be bothered. I really generally don't like to do anything. I just want to be on my own, no tasks, soft life, and all those stuff. But when I find something I'm genuinely interested in, when I find something I have a reason to do, like I have an actual reason to do the things, I can find myself doing these things for hours on end without getting tired. So before medical school, I didn't really have so much I was doing. I don't have so much I was interested in, except go to secondary school, come back, play, and repeat the cycle. But medical school has kind of given me so much that I'm interested in, and all these things are really time taking, so it makes me feel a little more hardworking. Okay, let me tell you one particular stage of medical school career that actually changed me. This point is a turning point for me. It was when I was trying to get admission into medical school. So I tried twice. In my first entry examinations, I did not get close to the requirement to get into medical school. But at that time, I was this diehard fan of medical school. Like, all I wanted was to just get into medical school and study medicine. Now right now I'm remembering how I used to feel then. I would be watching all this medical series. I watched some of these Good Doctor, Residents, Grey's Anatomy. Then when I'm looking at the main characters, the doctor in those movies, I would start having goosebumps. So I would imagine myself in scrubs and all those stuff. Actually, all those over enthusiasm has kind of reduced when I got into medical school. But then I was super diehard fan of medical school. So I knew that, okay, with this my results from my first try, I really need to fasten my belt. Like, I was going to increase my ability if I'm going to ever get into medical school. This was what actually pushed me to working very hard on my second exam. In my second exam, I read the hardest I've ever read in my life, and I've never worked as hard as I did around that time. I spent so long. I would sit for like 4 hours straight trying to study. I would sleep up on my study table. I would get mad at myself for sleeping up. It was just crazy moment. But during this period of time, I was working hard, and I'm glad I saw the results immediately. I was seeing the results of working hard. I noticed that I began to know more. I began to gain more confidence in myself concerning physics, chemistry, biology, and the basic science I was studying then. And before I knew it, I found myself teaching tutorial students, and I was even getting paid for teaching. That time I knew, okay, hard work is something that is very important in this life. Like, that was kind of a turning point. And eventually, thank God, I got into medical school. So medical school too, I had tried to maintain this momentum I've gotten while preparing for exams to get into medical school, and I've been trying to work very hard since then. And glory to God, like since preclinical part of medical school, I've never had below 70 in any of my tests. All my tests are 70 and above. That's my new relationship with hard work, and I've been working hard. And besides that is there are some other areas I'm now interested in besides medical school. Like I have to make time for medical school and time for other things, so I'm as well hard working in other areas because I now know the importance of working hard. Looking back now, I'm much more hardworking thanks to medical school. Now the second area which I've gotten better is that I'm street smarter. Okay, I think this is not a direct function of medical school but of age and university exposure. But looking back now, I'm much more wiser than I was like 4 years back. Though I've learned a lot about life, about how things work, about different career opportunities, but I'm still learning. You know, it's possible that in the next 5 years I'll look back at this particular moment and just laugh at how stupid I am, because looking back at some 4 years back, I'll just laugh at myself of how stupid I was then. I think this is growth. Before, internet for me was just to chat with my friends on Sugo and Facebook, but now I've seen various use of internet, of how you can better yourself, of how you can learn skills on internet, of how you can connect with people, and there are several things one could do like career wise right now that I probably wouldn't have learned if I had not gone to university. So the third way medical school has helped me is that I'm more health conscious, and this is normal because in medical school we are going to learn, or we are actually learning the worst things that could happen to human. Though I'm still in my third year and I'm definitely going to learn more. I've not even learned up to half of what we are going to learn in my medical career. There's still a lot that I don't know yet, but with the little I know, we've learned a lot, and many of these diseases are really scary. We've learned how your lifestyle choices, your actions can actually impact your health. For example, when I read about tetanus for the first time, I was like surprised when I saw the symptoms of tetanus. Then I just flashed back to when we were little. You know, Clostridium tetani, which is the causative agent of tetanus, can be found in so many places, even in the soil, on the ground. But I remember that when we were little, if we had a cut on our leg, we'll just cover it with sand, thinking that was the cure for it. Thank God we didn't have tetanus at that time. And I've also learned, for example, pulling the child's arm suddenly could actually cause the dislocation of the radial bone here. It could also cause case palsy. So all those things, anytime I'm going to be dealing with kids, I'm always very careful. And as well, we've learned many parts of our body that are very prone to danger, that eating you at this spot can actually lead to something very terrible. The next one is I'm more fascinated by the human body. In medical school, in preclinical, we're learning the normal structure and function of the human body. And later in our clinical years, we are going to be learning mostly how there can be alterations in this normal functioning of the body and how to restore them back. And I'm really fascinated at how intelligently designed human body is. Another area of medical school that fascinates me really much is my cadaveric experience, or my cadaver experience. Cadavers, if you don't know, are dead bodies, and many medical schools are going to be providing cadavers for medical students to dissect, and this is going to give you like knowledge of how different organs are in the human body. If you are a medical student or you are just starting medical school, I know cadaver lab might not be the best place you want to be. It might be, the smell and everything. It might not be really cool for you, but I'll tell you to take advantage of this opportunity to learn. What I noticed is that most of the organs are not exactly the way they are in the book. When I saw the bladder, the human bladder for the very first time, I was expecting it to be much bigger than what I saw. Not just bladder, when I saw the ovary is really small. Everything just seemed really miniature, and I was, the picture I had in my head from the drawing was that it was going to be very big. All those things were really fascinating to me. I think if there were no exams in medical school would be more fun, but the plenty exams and the stress of medical school is what makes it so appalling. Let me talk about two major disadvantages I can think of and how medical school has negatively impacted me. One area is my social life has crumbled a little further. Before medical school, I'm actually not an extrovert. I'm more inclined to introversion. I prefer to stay on my own and do my own stuff. But medical school has actually made it worse. I'm not proud to say this, but I'm that friend that is not always responding to chat on time, or sometimes I may not respond at all. Actually, we're always busy, but I feel that's not enough reason to I don't know, but sometimes I feel bad about it. But also about making new friends. Before medical school, I actually liked chatting with new people and making friends with them. But now it's very difficult. I think the reason why is because I know if you make friends, you have to keep them, and to keep friends these days is more difficult than before. So I'm not even really interested in making friends like I used to. The thing is that is still funny to me is that this is still not the busiest part of my life. Like, it's progressively get busier. 100 level is least busiest, 200 level, 300 level, as you progress it becomes busier. The second part which I feel medical school has negatively affected me is that I'm lazier now to do things I don't want to do because I have an excuse, and the excuse is that I'm busy with medical school. There are things that I actually have time to do, but I don't want to do them. So I would not feel bad about not doing these things. I can say, oh, I have plenty books to read, or I'm busy with classes and stuff. I don't know, it's funny to me. If I have the money to outsource some of those things, I would not even do them again. So I just thought to share my experience in medical school thus far. If you're a medical student, I would also appreciate if you can share some of your own experience in the comment section. And if you are just aspiring to go into medical school too, I hope you found this video insightful and maybe enjoyable. You know, our experiences are going to be different. Like, we're going to have different experiences. So you should note that. Bye bye.